Hey guys, welcome back to the channel, and today I'm going to be installing a new spoiler on the F30. Now this spoiler is actually, I personally think that it's a mixture of the M Performance combined with the PSM style kind of in one design.
John?
So I've noticed that some people think that the PSM is a little bit too big, too aggressive for the car, and that's okay. I mean, everybody has their own opinions, and personally I feel like some of the M Performance designs are a little bit too small for the car. So this spoiler is actually about right in the middle of both, so it's kind of like you get an aggressive feel but not too overpowering, if that makes sense. And I haven't really seen this spoiler too much on many cars. I've seen two different types of PSM. One of them, which is the one that I have, and then I'll kind of explain to you guys on the other one that I've seen that's another PSM style. Which, I mean, they all look nice to me, and it all just kind of depends on the preference of the look that you're going for or what type of things that you like. So I'm gonna go ahead and show you guys these spoilers. So right here we have the PSM that I had. And as you guys know, I ended up just taking this off because I was having issues with the carbon fiber actually lifting while it was out in the sun. So once it got to a certain temperature outside, this would start to bubble up, and obviously I was like, you know what, this has to go. I might switch back and forth during the winter time. So I know the spoiler is actually fine during the winter, so I might do that. But for right now, we're gonna be trying this. And at first, whenever I saw this, I thought this was actually going to be like a replica of the M4. I believe the M4 CS spoiler or GTS. I can't remember what the name of the spoilers are, but it looks very similar because it actually has a similar design to this, but it's a lot smaller. So the way this one is, instead of sitting on top like most spoilers do, this one actually sits right here. So it takes part of the side and the top of the trunk. But before we get started, I am gonna have to wet sand this because I don't know if you guys, okay, so you guys are able to see here, there's scratches going all the way across. So the original car, well, the car came with the original spoiler. It was a carbon fiber M Performance, and this was, I'm pretty sure it was installed at the dealership, maybe, or I don't know, but it had some tape that was like a pain to get off. So I ended up using this. Oh, there goes my electricity. So I ended up using this eraser wheel to get all the tape that was stuck on there, because it was a pain. Like if you would have sat there and started scrubbing with Glue Gun or rubbing alcohol, I mean, you probably would be doing it. You'd probably be rubbing all day. But anyways, I was able to get all that off. But once I got it off, I realized that it looked like somebody took one of those sandpaper pens and just kind of went all the way across and scuffed it, I guess, to maybe get the tape to stick better. Which kind of doesn't really make sense because that was already, I mean, that tape was pretty damn strong. So yep, I'm not a fan of this, and I feel like once I put the spoiler, I think this is actually going to be exposed, or some of it. So I'm gonna have to try to wet sand it and buff it. I'm gonna be using 600 grit. Like I said, guys, these scratches didn't come from me taking the spoiler off, because it starts all the way from here and it has two lines. So normally if it was me that scratched it, you would have kind of just seen lines all over the place. But these two lines just follow the where the old spoiler used to be at. So you have it going all the way across, which is kind of dumb, but you know, we'll be able to I should be able to get most of the scratches off. So I'm gonna do 600 grit. Actually, I might just do 800 grit first. So I'm gonna do 800, 1000, and then if I have 1200, if not, then I'm gonna do 1500. But I'm gonna go ahead and do this first, and then I'll show you guys the results, and then we'll just kind of follow the install of that spoiler. So you guys are probably not able to see, but I ended up doing 800 grit to 1000 to 1200 and finished it up with 1500. So you guys are seeing that I ended up scuffing all the way back here. That was because of the block that I was using. I just wanted to go ahead and get an even piece. And the reason why I did 800 was because the scratches that were on here, you could actually feel them, and now it feels really smooth, so everything should come out just as like it is over here. So once I polish it, everything should be back to normal. So I'm gonna end up polishing it, and then I'm gonna have to go back and clean it up with alcohol, and then we should be good to go. So we can go ahead and continue with the spoiler install. Now all of this is not necessary when you're installing a spoiler. This is only if your car happens to have the same scratches, which is weird. I don't see a point of why somebody would scuff the paint to lay double-sided tape on top of there. So I mean, it is what it is. It's really not that hard. So I know it's kind of scary to have to wet sand into your paint, but it's really not that bad once you actually dive into it. You guys saw it was a pretty simple process. Just get the car wet, get the sandpaper wet, and try to use the block that way so you can kind of create a even sanding. Because if you end up using your hands, and I've done this before, you'll end up creating like low spots here and there, because you'll end up putting more pressure on it with your fingers in certain spots than in other areas versus using a block. So try to use a block if you can when it comes to sanding, and just try to go in small increments of the sanding to make it easier for you when it comes to polishing. So I'm gonna go ahead and polish it, and I'm gonna use the V34 that I've used. All the links to everything that I use will be in the description, so in case you guys want to do this, you guys can follow the same steps. So V34 and V36, and I think that should do it. I'm gonna have to use the same pad. Well, actually no, I have different pads. So I'm gonna use the V34, V36, and then I'll show you guys the results. Alright guys, so it took me a little bit longer than what it should have. I ended up having to go back and do it a second time by hand, because I realized that whenever I did it with the block, it was actually not getting the centerpiece. So whenever I did the polishing, I was still having those spots, and that was because the scratches were a little too big in certain areas that I wasn't getting with the block. So I ended up having to do everything by hand, and then whenever I did the polishing, I just kind of took my time and went up and down and side to side. So the second time I ended up just going sideways instead of going up and down as well. So I think most of them are gone. I mean, I can still see some, but you're not going to be able to see them on camera. And honestly, you have to be like under certain light and really looking at it to be able to spot them. But one of these days, I'm probably going to go ahead and get the whole car detailed, paint corrected, and ceramic coated, or I might end up having a wrap done on the car. So I'm not sure yet, but for now, this will do the job. And honestly, it looks way better than what it did before, because you could clearly see the two lines going across here. And I put the spoiler on it to see if this was something that I needed to do, and it was, because I could still see one of the lines. So I'm a lot happier now with the results. So let's go ahead and continue with the install. So I actually don't have a spot to set the camera on the side to give you guys a side view. So this is just a I'm gonna just lay this on top so you guys can get an idea. So this is the PSM. As you guys can see, it's obviously it's more aggressive than the one that I'm going to be installing. So a lot of people, well, the few people that I've seen, I wouldn't say a lot, but the few people that I've seen that don't like this is because I guess it's so wide. Personally, I like it, but you guys already know why I'm kind of switching spoilers. And also, I mean, I want to try something different. So there's two kinds of PSM style spoilers. One of them is this one, which is less aggressive, and then there's another one that has a deeper indentation, and it's got pointy tips over here. So those are the two that you guys are most commonly going to be seeing. Dang, it's stuck already. There you go. And this is the other one. So like I was telling you guys, I wish I would have kept my M Performance spoiler so I could show a comparison. So as you guys can see, this one sits right here on the side, as the other one just kind of sits mostly on top. So this one really sits on the back end of the trunk for the most part. Honestly, I think that's where it sits. There's barely anything exposed, well, covering up over on this side. So let's see. Just kind of just better there. I don't want it to fall, so I'm not really gonna take my chances. But yeah, guys, here is a view from right here. Oh shit. Alright, well, you guys get the point. Here's this view right here. So this reminds me a lot of my M Performance that I used to have. But yeah, guys, this one's a little bit thicker than that one. So it has a little bit more girth. But you guys can tell that this one has the indentation that's not as aggressive, so it really matches that one. So Souvenir sells both of them if you guys are interested in getting the one, not this one, but the one that's similar to that, but it has more of a pointy edge, and it's actually a little bit taller than this. So he has that one, which I will link in the description. But if you guys want this one as well, I will link it. The only thing is, the day that you're watching this video, they are out of stock, so you guys are gonna have to wait maybe about 2 weeks before he gets another shipment in. So I'm gonna go ahead and put tape on here, clean the surface, and go ahead and line it up, and it should be a really simple install. Alright guys, so I have the tape here, and actually I forgot to cut a piece. I ended up using the thick tape, and as you guys can see, it's actually pretty thick right here, so it'll fit it, but then it just starts getting smaller. So I went ahead and put the tape all the way across, and then I ended up trimming it to kind of stay within the spoiler, so that way you can get full contact all the way across, even though the most thing that's going to matter is probably going to be on the sides, or on each side over here. So as long as you have enough tape right here, just having a small strip right here is going to be fine. You can use this smaller double-sided tape, but I went ahead and use this over here. I'm going to go ahead and line this up. I'm going to peel both edges. Once I have it lined up, I'm going to put pressure on the sides, and then just kind of start working my way down towards the middle, and then we'll have the spoiler installed. What you want to do is, I might not be able to show you guys the entire process as I do it, but yeah, so once you have it on there, you want to hold about 20 seconds on each section, and then that way, so you can give the double-sided tape enough time to stick on. So here's the final results. As you guys can tell, this is a cleaner outcome than the other one. So the other one took a good chunk of the trunk over here. I think it's stuck right about here, and then just kind of went around the whole trunk. So this one just sits on the edge of the lip, well, on the lip of the trunk. So it's a cleaner finish. It's more of a I guess I wouldn't even call this I don't know. You would call this a high kick. Technically, on the E90s, I remember they had something similar, and they considered this a high kick. So I would consider this a high kick duckbill top of spoiler, just because it sits right on the edge and it doesn't take up on the it doesn't sit on the top of the trunk. So this is more of a like a duckbill, and it still has a little bit of a design over here. It's not a plain piece. It actually has a nice little detail. It's not too crazy. So if you don't like the pointy tip, because that was one of the things that whenever I was looking for a spoiler at first, I wasn't sold on the pointy tips. Eventually they ended up growing on me, so I mean, I wouldn't even mind having one myself, but personally this is more of my style. I'm actually liking the way this looks. There's the angle from right here. I wish I could take the car out and show you guys how the spoiler looks, but since I do have a lot of things to do this weekend, I'm gonna have to finish this video today, well tonight, and edit the video tonight so I can upload it for you guys tomorrow, because tomorrow and probably Sunday I'm gonna be pretty busy, so I'm not sure if I'm gonna have time to record anything or edit. So I'm just kind of gonna give you guys the best angles that I can from here. I mean, this is honestly the best combination that you guys can get for anybody that's trying to look for an aggressive look or clean. You really can't go wrong with this spoiler. This one would just kind of fit any style, and like I said, it fits nearly perfect. There's no gaps down here at the bottom. So whenever you get the spoiler on here, what you want to do is just make sure that you put pressure on this side, kind of like bringing it down that way so the tape sticks on this side. And also you want to do the same thing over here. Just put pressure at the bottom. So spend some time, put pressure on it like 20 seconds at a time per area, and you should be good. Like there's no gaps whatsoever. Well, that's going to do it for today's video. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you guys are interested in grabbing the spoiler, I will link it down in the description. Like I said, keep in mind they are out of stock right now, but he should have a new shipment in about 2 weeks. I'm pretty happy with it. Hopefully you guys are too. My videos coming up are going to be a little bit weird. I'm not sure exactly how I'm going to be doing them because I'm not really going to have an area to work on the car. So I might have to put a hold on it for about 2 months, maybe 3. Hopefully not 3, but we'll just have to kind of wait and see how things play out. Do me a favor, give it a thumbs up. And yeah, see you guys in the next one.